Uh, I'm afraid I'm going to have to pull rank on you. I don't want to have to do this, but I'm with the mattress police. There are no tags on Lou Diamond's mattresses. Plenty of stains, but no tags.
Would you like to learn from those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level? Best-selling author of Speakeasy and master connector Lou Diamond is here to connect you to some of the most inspiring and amazing people on this planet. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
I got my toes in the water, ass in the sand. Not a worry in a world of cold beer in my hand. Life is good today. Yeah, life's good today.
Welcome, everyone, to another spectacular episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I'm your host, Lou Diamond. Oh, my goodness. Today's going to be a fun one. Because today on Thrive Loud, we have two pretty amazing women coming on the program right now. They met in college, we won't put a date, a while back, where they developed a lifelong friendship and a passion for their alma mater, Cornell University. So much so that their gratitude for their college years launched a podcast program years later where they introduced listeners to past and present Cornellians to hear where they are now, what they are most thankful for, and why they are most thankful to Cornell. In an episode that is bound to go off the rails because somebody had 3 Manhattans at lunch. That may have been me. You'll also know that I happen to know them fairly well, and they also are a ton of fun. You'll love them for this energy that we're going to have on this fun show. And more importantly, you're going to love how they love to connect others. Thrive Loud listeners, I bring you the hosts of the Cornell Thank You podcast, Michelle Katz and Stephanie Gitlin. Michelle and Stephanie, how are you guys today?
Great.
Good.
Thanks.
So good to be here.
They get to be on the other side of the microphone. They've gotten so used to being hosts in their incredible program, and now I get to have fun with them. And to bring this episode into its full spirit, I'm game on. I'm just making it clear. I'm game on for this episode right away. I'm hatting up because for those listeners that know this and those that are watching this on the program, I just put on a Cornell hat and make it clear I'm an alumni just as they are. They're just a touch older than I am, but that's okay. We'll just pretend that I'm 29 and they're 30, which works out well.
You're starting out slow.
I'm starting out pretty slow. There's a lot to go on here. All right, so here's what I want to do. I want to bring everything up to speed so listeners understand this. Can we go back and you guys share how this whole thing came to be? And Michelle, I'll let you kick it off and baton pass back and forth with Steph.
Okay, sure. So Steph and I have fun no matter what we're doing. And we had this creative urge, I guess, during the pandemic to do something together. We couldn't figure out what it was. And we talked about doing a podcast without having any idea what the theme was going to be. But we talked about it one day on the treadmill. I said, maybe we can do this, and ran it by Steph. And it just evolved into what it is today from just a teeny tiny idea. And it's literally like maybe the best part of my week.
Steph, you want to explain what this is?
Sure. So we were roommates and best friends at Cornell, and we love Cornell. We love to talk about the days, the glory days. And so the idea was to do a podcast focused on people's memories and experiences at Cornell, and then what they're doing now with their Cornell degree. So in the spirit of being grateful that we both went to Cornell, we decided to call it Cornell Thank You, with the U being a U like a university. And honestly, Lou, it started, I would say, like as a lark, just again, as Michelle said, something for the two of us to do together because we love just laughing and having fun together. And somewhere along the way, it really turned into something more than that. And we have met the most interesting people, including me meeting you and other people that are just doing great things. And so that's sort of how it all started.
So to help people understand the perspective of this, you guys have had a whole life. You guys are parents or have been to school a long time ago. How have you before the podcast started and college ended? Have you always been like, you guys were roommates at one point or another, as I understand it, way back when, right? Was it freshman year, sophomore year? When were your roommates?
Sophomore year in the sorority house.
In your sorority. So have you maintained this close connection all the way through?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, certainly we have been as close, but not, we never lived in the same city. So we really didn't see each other. What this has done is, instead of now phone calls, the Zoom, it doesn't replace being together at all, but it does give you that feeling that you are seeing each other and connected in that way.
So starting a show, and this is all part of our lovely theme here on Thrive Loud about cool things people are doing in podcasting. This was to really socialize and try and bring some other people together and feature some other stories. I'll start with you, Michelle. Michelle, what were you thinking about if you were visualizing what this show could be? You wanted to get some appreciation because you were thankful. Were you initially saying, I'm just going to go to my initial group of friends? Or explain how you started to figure out who you wanted to feature on this program.
Yeah, so that's a great question. We initially did it really just to entertain our sorority sisters. We have a very active group of 30 of us, and it's often very funny. And we thought, let's get each of them on. That's 30 weeks of episodes, and it'll just be great for 30 weeks, and then we'll see what happens. And after maybe the 5th or 6th episode, Steph said, I think we have to expand our reach. We can't just have women in their 50s on our text list. So we started reaching out, really just word of mouth, and this person knew that person, and cold emailing. And it has been incredible. It's turned into something different where we look forward to bringing our friends and our listeners some of the most interesting people that we've ever met.
Stephanie, you want to give a perspective as to some of the people outside of your group of friends that have started to come on this program?
Well, okay. So as Michelle said, we started off with our friends, but then like you, Lou, you were one of the first people that we reached out to that, yes, you turned the corner for us because you were not someone that I knew, well from Cornell. Michelle had kept in touch with you, but you were doing something that was totally different than anyone we spoke with. And from there, we reached out to other people we knew. Rob Price is the CEO of School of Rock. Yeah. That was really cool. Then that led us to his brother, Dave Price, who's a not a meteorologist. I take that back. He was very specific about that. He's a weatherman, a weather forecaster.
Yes.
For NBC. So, it was like Michelle said, one guest led to another. And we've met people in all different industries, all different ages. And then it was Michelle's idea to also focus on some current students. And those actually have been some of our biggest, most listened to episodes. People really want to hear what's happening now at Cornell as well.
Michelle, let's talk about what we're discussing on this show. This is actually an interesting way that you guys have pieced this together because you guys are developing the content based on who you're speaking with. Help share with our listeners here on Thrive Loud what people learn about the guests that you bring on the show on Cornell. Thank you.
What did they learn? Well, I think, first of all, one of the most fun things about the episodes is the relatable speed round at the end. People love to compare their loves of Cornell with the guest loves, where they studied or ate. People love that. And then I think people are just naturally curious about both what's happening on campus, what's possible for themselves if they have the same degree as somebody that was on the podcast, excuse me. And I think everyone just likes a good story. And these people have great stories. Would you agree, Steph?
I would. Yeah, it's equal parts nostalgia, goofiness, fun, and then really hearing, wow, Cornellians are doing amazing things.
Yeah.
So we try to blend all of that together in each episode.
So here's an interesting perspective I wanted to share with you two. Obviously, the three of us are a little biased. Listeners know I'm from Cornell, and they are as well. Yes. And obviously, we have a perspective to what makes the show, what makes that university unique to us. And it's different for every year, and everyone has their own little piece of whatever school it is. Well, I had somebody listen to the program, your program, the one I was on as a guest, who went to a school on the whole other side of the country at USC. And he listened to it and said, this is a spectacular idea. He goes, this is bringing everyone is always trying to link alumni networks together and trying to get different perspective. They're trying to connect, new people to old people, and no one can really relate. But what you've actually done and featured is kind of go back in time a little bit as to what their experience was like, and then trying to bring it forward to what they're doing today. And this particular individual has a child at a university and said to me, they listened to the episode so that they can understand, wow, listen to what that professional's doing now, or how they took what they were studying in school and brought it forward. Forget about the fact that it's from Cornell. Other people are appreciating it. And to this point, I already know of other universities that have heard about what you guys are doing and are saying, wouldn't it be great if we could do something like that? Because it's a unique way to use podcasting, your friendship and relationship, to help connect others who have some similar experience, which is like taking social media and putting it on steroids is the best way to describe it. How do you guys feel every time you record one of these episodes?
Steph?
I always leave feeling inspired and happy, to be honest. Happy because, again, Michelle and I had that time together. We always laugh. There's always a laugh. And so that always leaves me feeling happy and inspired. I mean, we talked to a young woman today that has started numerous businesses. She's a mother. She is an entrepreneur. And she's, I don't know, 38 maybe. We walked away from that thinking, wow, look what she has done. And always feeling nostalgic about Cornell. The more you talk about it, the more you think about your own experience. So I always leave with great feelings.
Michelle?
Yeah, I would echo that. I would say some of the best parts about the podcast is what happens before we hit record, either with the guest as a warm-up, we have a little fun, but also leading up to it. So Steph and I do a little homework while still keeping things casual and on the fly, but we try to come up with those crazy quizzes that maybe you've heard in some of our episodes, and we laugh all week getting that together. So I always leave grateful to our guests and grateful for those laughs and our time together.
I say to other podcasters across the nation or the globe at this point, I spoke to somebody this morning from London, that there's a true joy when you have connection through podcasting. And it takes a little bit to get through it, right? Because you need to kind of build a program. You have to get a rapport. You have to get used to doing it. And I'll say this, and kudos to the two of you. It's not easy to have two hosts on a show. I will let you know that it's usually just one host, and having two people and then a guest all the time is a unique dynamic and always challenging to balance it out. Talk to me what it's been like as interviewers, because none of you, this is, correct me if I'm wrong, neither one of the two of you have ever been professional interviews before, right? Am I wrong on that?
You are not wrong.
I am not wrong. I'm absolutely correct. I'm always correct, Michelle. I just want to make that clear. So you've been building up this skill just using your general curiosity, and tell me, or learning from others. How have you been growing as podcasters?
Well,
Michelle, you go first.
For as long as say again?
You go first, Michelle.
Okay. For as long as I know Stephanie, she has been the greatest listener and the best giver of advice. And because she's such a good listener, she's incredible on the podcast. So sometimes we do one question, go back and forth. And sometimes she's got such a great lead in that, it's all good with me, keep going. We haven't really noticed any trouble with being two hosts on the podcast. And I often look at Stephanie in disbelief at how good her questions are. I love it.
And Steph?
Thank you. I'll put the compliment back on Michelle. I feel the same way about her. I do think we are both interested people. I was a psychology major. Michelle was human development, family studies. So we both have this natural inclination to want to understand people and hear stories. And so we are asking questions that we're really interested in. When you have two people, the difficulty is the rhythm. You don't want to talk over each other, and you want to sort of have a good back and forth. But the benefit also is that the pressure is a little bit off. I recently just moderated a book event, and I was the sole interviewer. And it was weird for me because I didn't have that partner to think of the next question while I was asking the current question. So I love it. I think we have a rhythm and a repartee, I guess, that just kind of works for us.
All right. I've been nice ever since we started this. Now we got all the formal stuff out of the way here. I just want to get to the fun stuff here. So you have to understand, listeners need to know, I've known Michelle now for about, what we'll say 15 some odd years, maybe even longer if we go all the way back to college, I
If you
guess.
go all the way back, yes. But
we go all the way back
recent
to college,
years,
but we happen to live nearby. And one of the things that I laugh about, which I'm going to share about now, is obviously one of the biggest hurdles that people have when it comes to podcasting, where we're not familiar with this, is the technology itself and all the craziness and all the effects. Let's talk about the evolution of Cornell Thank You from episode 1, 2, and 3 to where we are today, because I'd say you're getting used to this stuff. You're getting comfortable with all the sound, the tech, the editing, the production, the stuff that nobody who listens to your show regularly understands is required to make a show really successful. I'll let you go first, Michelle.
So first of all, you helped me learn how to edit. I mean, I would be nowhere without you. So you were a great teacher. And the editing software you suggested is a pleasure. And I love doing the edit. I just love it. So yeah, I would say, actually, you helped us with the other tech too, microphones to get and headphones to use. So you really get credit for helping us get started from a
This was the
point of view.
self-aggrandization of myself here. I just wanted to get a compliment on the show. You can get it other way. Now you can go through it.
What a setup.
I'm wearing a volleyball hat here. Let's make it clear. So.
Yeah, so I would say that stuff took a little bit of learning, not terrible. And now, I think we're up and running. I don't think we have too many tech problems.
All right. So now, aside from, trying to figure out how we can get Stephanie to sound good before we came on
Yes.
this episode, but we got all that fixed out. And now she sounds spectacular, looks spectacular. I always say this to podcasters, that you don't realize that you're creating content which started out as something fun for your friends, which now is actually being listened to by a lot of different people in all different walks of life. And you have people wanting to come on the show, or you're looking for different people, and everyone is enjoying it. And I want to make it clear, we know this is not an affiliated podcast with Cornell University. This is a project that you guys are doing. Have you found that it's improving other things about you? Like, I will tell you, this podcast is a gift to the listeners, but what's the gift that it's given both of you? Stephanie, you go first.
Well, it's given me the gift of even becoming a better listener. It's one thing to listen in a cocktail party conversation or where you're chatting over coffee with a friend. It's another thing to listen when you know that you want to ask the next question. I mean, you are the interviewer. So it really has forced me to listen. I found that skill even carrying over to my personal relationships, which I really like. But also just having something to look forward to. I have other stuff going on too, but I'm an empty nester now and I work part-time. But this has filled a great piece of my life that I was looking for. Connection, time with Michelle, and a little more creativity. I mean, Michelle really does all of the creative aspects of it, all of that editing, which is really a skill. She does all of that. But, you have to be creative to come up with sort of ideas for the podcast and guests and things like that.
Mish?
Yeah, I agree with that. That definitely we're both becoming better listeners and better question askers. Specific to me, I don't work part-time. So this has given me something to talk about. When people say, oh, so what do you do? I have something now, right? Outside of making the beds with hospital corners, which nobody cares about. Yeah. So it's given that. And I agree. It just gives something so great to look forward to every week. It's always fun. It's always interesting. And I do love that creative piece of it.
I want to do something fun here as it relates to how we can piece some of what you guys do in your show to what we do here on Thrive Loud. So first, what I want to do is I want to get all the admin stuff out of the way. And if you guys can share, Michelle, you can give the info here, where people can learn about the podcast, how they can find it. We will put it on the show notes, but it always gets more engagement when they hear it from you guys.
Sure. So the podcast is called Cornell Thank You, and it's on all of the major podcast sites. And on Instagram, we're also Cornell Thank You, so it's pretty easy. And people have been finding Steph on LinkedIn. I don't have that. But for the most part, the best way to find us is by DMing us on Instagram. We've got a lot of inbound requests there, which has been really fun.
Yes, and more to come for what you're going to see is going to come out of this episode.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to do Fun Street here, the extended version, which I was more excited about than anything else. We got all the admin stuff out of the way. We got all the stuff about this great podcast. And by the way, this is awesome what you guys are doing. As I say this, to those that get past a certain hurdle on podcasting, you start to understand how great it is to connect with people, how great it is to listen to people, and how when you're sharing this stuff, other people are benefiting from it. And that's a real cool thing. That USC story, I haven't had a chance to even share with you guys, which is pretty cool. But Fun Street's going to be really fun here because I happen to know these women in a certain way that will be a lot of fun. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the Thrive Loud version of this, and then I'm going to start to ask some of the questions that you guys ask a lot of your favorite people that come to Cornell. So all the listeners, you'll enjoy the first part, and to the people at Cornell, you'll get an understanding about the second part. That sound like a plan? Okay.
Great.
First of all, I want each one of you to share with me, do you have an all-time favorite movie? Stefan, I'll start with you.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, in the theme of going to college in the 80s, really my all-time favorite movie is Tootsie with Dustin Hoffman.
Oh, which is the 80s. I was like, where did that come from? Tootsie's an amazing movie, by the way. Underrated.
She can act it out. She's so good.
I know every line. But yeah, Tootsie is.
She kind of looks like Terry Garr a little bit, right? Don't you think so?
I can see that. Yeah, that and also When Harry Met Sally, another fabulous 80s movie.
How about you, Michelle?
Yeah, God, I'm stuck in the 80s too, or maybe even earlier. For me, my two go-tos, depending on what's going on, is one, Fletch for laughs.
Okay.
And two, Rocky. I love it.
Yeah.
I knew I liked her. Those are in my lines of movies, which is interesting, by the way. And I say this, it's rare that you have a woman that likes Fletch. Many guys like Fletch. Like it's definitely like a movie quotable thing, but that's like you. Yeah. I'll charge us to the Underhills. I'm sure that's what this entire episode is going to go.
Exactly.
All right. So the way we do the speed round for my show is going to blend into your show. So the way I'm going to do this, and we're going to do like a typewriter. Michelle, I'll start with you and then go to Stephanie, then Stephanie and back. So we'll do it like each one gets to do two in a row. I'm going to ask you something. These are things that lift you up, motivate you, make you feel good, basically make you thrive. And then there will be the Cornell stuff. Okay. Start off with this. Michelle, a favorite song of late that you've been loving to listen to or something you love to jam out to?
I love the entire new Taylor Swift album.
Okay. Did you get tickets? Were you able to get tickets to the concert? Because nobody could.
I know. But I do. I love that entire album, every song.
Gotcha. Stephanie.
I'm sorry. I missed the question. It cut out for a second.
It's okay. The question was favorite song of late that you love to listen to.
Oh, gosh. Anything Zach Brown. I love Zach Brown. I just saw him in concert.
Okay, Stephanie. A favorite food that is not a dessert.
Oh, my God. Spaghetti and bolognese. Spaghetti and meat sauce.
Gotcha. Michelle, same question.
Spaghetti marinara.
Well, the two of you guys are perfect roommates for that. Michelle, a favorite dessert.
Ooh, brownie a la mode, and the ice cream is chocolate.
Stephanie, your favorite dessert.
I love a good chocolate cake with chocolate icing, like a Duncan Hines moist chocolate cake.
Stephanie, an activity you wish you did more of.
Oh, gosh. An activity I wish I did more of. I don't have a good answer for that, Lou. I am fortunate. If I like an activity, I will do it as much as I want to do it. So I don't have a good answer for that.
Happy husband. Michelle.
I will say yoga, and by more, I mean any.
Okay. That's very... Michelle...
That's true.
By the way, I played pickleball last night, by the way. It's awesome. Yeah, I really like it.
Right.
We could talk more about that.
All
right, Michelle, an activity you wish you did less of?
Staying up late till 1, 2 in the morning for no reason.
For no reason. How about you, Stephanie? An activity you wish you did less of?
Probably, I sometimes watch too much reality TV.
Okay. Stephanie, if I could snap my fingers and you could be anywhere in the world, where are you?
I would say, and I'm going to go there in the spring. I'll go to Florence, Italy.
Ooh. And Michelle, where would you want to be?
Can I say like present moment, present day?
Yeah, you could be right here, right? You're here where you are? Is that what you want to say?
Here, but like, this moment in time. Okay. Not this particular second, although I enjoy your company.
Yes, I understand.
Mean, this stage of my life.
Got it. You like it.
I'm sorry, Lou. Did you mean like a time?
I was just saying you could be anywhere in the world. No, I was saying, this could go anywhere. I actually like the way that you guys asked that question. Not a time in your life, but where, if you could be anywhere in the world, where would it be? That's what I was going to. Like a location. Some people say right here. I'm very happy. Some people she's happy right now in her life. So was there a physical location, Michelle, you'd want to go to?
I would take everything that I have right now, including you guys, and transport us to Cornell campus.
Okay.
If I'm
So
being honest.
we got
I
on
would like to be there.
I will tell you this just because we're recording this in mid-November and there's like a blizzard hitting Buffalo where I think they're calling it Snowmageddon. I think actually the guy you interviewed, David Price, called it Snowmageddon the other day. Yeah, I don't want to go there right now, but we can go there when the weather's a little warmer. How about that?
Fair.
I was just there a few weeks ago, so I guess it was actually pretty nice. It was like 70 degrees. It was awesome. Okay. Yes. Speaking of Cornell, for those not Cornell fans, we're going to explain this to you. Okay, back in the day, Stephanie, hot truck or Louis?
Oh my God, hot truck, please.
By the way, there's a lot of
talk about it on the podcast. We're obsessed with it.
Okay, so what was your order?
PMP, G&G.
Okay, and translate that for the non-Cornell fans. What's the G&G? We know what the poor man's pizza is, the PMP.
Poor man's pizza, sauce and cheese. G&G is grease and garden, which actually means lettuce and mayo.
Gotcha. Michelle, your order at Hot Truck, because we already got it.
I would rather eat thumbtacks than G&G. Just a plain PMP.
Listeners need to know that the original Stouffer's French bread pizza recipe came from Hot Truck, which was this truck that literally was at the part of West Campus at Cornell, which was open till who knows what hour in the morning, and that's literally our late night place that we would go. Now I will let you know it is no longer physically there. I have had two students at Cornell, one who's still there, and Louis is, by the way, I've had Louis recently. Not to replace my memories of Hot Truck, just because I'm a Hot Truck guy too. I would just tell you that it's pretty damn good. They've got some pretty good wraps.
Yeah,
they've upped the game. Here's some things that they have there now, which I really like. They've got sushi rolls and taco trucks and other trucks and stuff like that. The whole truck. There's actually a halal food truck on Eddy Street, like permanently, like in front of one of the houses there. It's kind of crazy. So they've got a lot of food trucks. But I digress. They have a lot more options. We just were limited. Anyway. Okay. Your favorite class that you still remember, like the one that resonated to you when you were a student at Cornell. Stephanie, I'll go with you first.
I was a psychology major and I love Psych 101, of course, but I took a class called social psychology and another class called psychology and the law. And those really stuck with me.
Michelle.
I will agree. Psych 101, but since everybody says that, there was a class about the Holocaust that I thought was unbelievably educational and important.
If you, Michelle, were to rewind the clock, but, make yourself at college again, but we're here today, and you could choose what you'd want to study at Cornell, Michelle, what would that be?
Probably the same major, but maybe a minor in the business school.
Okay. Stephanie, same question.
I agree. I would have the same major. I wish I had focused on a language more. I would like to be bilingual, and I'm not.
Are you close?
What?
Are you close to bilingual?
What language would you like to take? What language would that be?
Well, I would like to speak Spanish, and I did it in high school. If I had continued it and stuck with it and maybe done a study abroad, shoulda, woulda, coulda.
I married a Colombian. That became my Spanish training thereafter, which is a very important thing to do. So now, same question related to a social aspect, meaning if you were to now be back at college at this point in time, what thing would you like to have to get yourself involved with? It could be a club, an activity, a work job program, whatever it be. If you could redo it today, Stephanie, you first.
Oh, gosh.
Something you didn't do way back when.
Well, Michelle and I have talked about this. I wouldn't say it was a club, but I wish I had explored Ithaca more. I think there was a lot more to do in the region. I was very much focused on the campus, and I think I missed out a little bit on the beauty of upstate New York.
Michelle.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off that a little bit by saying I would have liked to do some kind of community service within Ithaca.
Gotcha. What type of community service would you like to do?
Something with the elementary school, maybe.
Very cool.
Something like that.
All right. If you were now, with all the knowledge from, the 10 years since you guys graduated, I kid, we're not dating this podcast. But if you were to take all the knowledge of your life right now and you were to sum it up and you could say, I could go I'm very thankful for all the relationship, all the friendships, but you could pick one day to go back to Cornell. One day during the time that you were there, a special, since it was an 80s reference earlier, you got a DeLorean, you could punch in the date, with Michael J. Fox and whatever, and zoom right there. What would that be? What experience would that be for you? Michelle, you first.
I think probably the first day we moved into the sorority house. It was an amazing experience, and you never get a chance to meet 45 girls in close quarters like that. And we set up our room. It was just a great day.
A little pressure on you, Steph, since that was the day that you were involved there.
Great answer. I'll give another memory. We have a photograph of, I don't know if you remember Fun in the Sun. It was
of course.
Okay. So it was on the art squad for the listeners, and the fraternities and sororities all had different booths and fun things. And we have a photo of Michelle and I. You know what a hippity hop is? Those big red, like inflatable balls that you bounce on. And someone had created a makeshift pool in the middle of the art squad. And there's a photo of Michelle and I doing hippity hop racing in the pool. And you can see in the smiles, it is just total fun and joy. And
yes,
it was, I think, the beginning of our sophomore year. And that really kicked off the greatest year that we had there. So I don't know. I'd go back to.
Yes. Okay. We are. Back in the day, my particular fraternity actually built a water jousting thing for Fun in the Sun, where literally there was a pool and you had a water joust. By the way, all these activities just wouldn't happen today. I mean, it's sad or whatever, but it was definitely a lot of fun. And I do remember the pool things going on in that particular day. To put a bow on this thing, you guys are probably going to continue to do this one because you both love doing it and you both happen to be excellent podcasters and phenomenal interviewers. Give me a wish list of who you'd like to have come on Cornell Thank You that you'd love to feature. Or it doesn't have to be specific names of people, or maybe it could just be certain roles. And Michelle, I'll start with you with that question.
Well, and we have tried. We would like President Pollock, but we have not been able to get her. So yeah, that'd be a great interview, I think. Please, President Pollock.
That's the president of Cornell University. Martha, if you're listening, please come on here. We will get her. You know what? I bet we could swing something like that. It may have to be like one of those quick ones, but I bet you could do it. And what about you?
We tried Andrea Savage, who is an actress and a comedian. She's busy. We haven't heard from her. And then the other one was Kate Snow from NBC. She
has an issue with NBC doesn't let her go on podcasts, just to be I had a feeling. So. She and I are in the same committee, so we have to. But it's just a thing. But you know what? You may have an argument because you got David. So maybe we can work on Kate and get her on there. She is awesome, by the way, and she's very impressive, and she's right around the same time as us. Yeah. Yes, go ahead, Michelle.
Can I hijack things just for
1
second?
Hijack it away. Go crazy.
I got to hijack. I read your book this week.
Yeah.
Here's what you don't know about Steph and me. We love a double entendre. Your book was loaded with double entendres. And Stephanie's going to read it next, but she's always in the middle of like a 1,200 page book. So I don't know what it'll be. But
yeah, mine's only like 160, so you're okay.
It was so good. It was so good. I really learned a lot. So I just wanted to tell you that it was so good. And we are going to highlight that on our Instagram. Well,
I love it. And just so the two of you know, you guys exemplify how you need to be in every conversation. And you're doing a great job. I have to say this as your outside podcasting advisor, you guys are kicking ass and doing a great job. Everybody's got to check out Cornell. Thank you. These two rock stars who have smiles from ear to ear. And if only I looked as good as they did. But I did brand well today. I came on the show and you did this. Thank you both for what you're doing. And thanks for coming on the program.
Thanks, Lou. It was so much fun.
You got it. And to all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep moving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
Just put your ass in a lawn chair, toes in the clay. Not a worry in a world of PBR on the way. Life is good today. Yes, life's good today.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.